Let's Talk Nutrition is a health talk show that features scientists, authors, nutrition specialists, personal trainers, holistic healers, and experts in traditional, natural, and integrative medicine. Listen for a chance to win daily prizes and follow Let's Talk Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition or on Twitter at LTN Radio. It's time for some inspiration. Tune in to get fit and healthy. It's time to talk about nutrition. Nutrition for your body, your mind, your spirit. It's time to talk about proper exercise, stress relief, eating well, and supplementation to help. Get ready to take charge of your health because your health is your wealth and the wealth of those who care about and love you. It's time for Let's Talk Nutrition with Dr. Michael Garko. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in. Got to get my volume right here. Hold on a second. There we go.
They've moved everything around in here today. Yep, well, yesterday.
So this is different now.
Yeah. And
we got flat screens. They're changing the studio. This is good. We're good. Yeah. This is like being in studios in Manhattan. We're getting there. This is all good. I'm glad you're there. That's what makes it good. And Dr. Kate Rheaume Bleue will be along today, and we'll just talk with her. She's a naturopathic physician, went to the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine. There's like 2 or 3 guests on the show that went to that medical school. They're turning out good people there. That's a good school. Sadly, I'm sure that nearly every person listening or watching the show today knows that Senator John McCain has been diagnosed with brain cancer, glioblastoma, which is an aggressive form of cancer, brain cancer, one of the more aggressive forms. Initially, they went into above his eye to remove a blood clot and then apparently discovered the tumor. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. Senator McCain is a senior, of course, United States Senator, and he represents Arizona. He's been a senator since 1987. And, of course, back in 2008, ran for president. What's interesting, when you look at his background, he's a pretty remarkable fellow. He followed in the footsteps of his dad and his grandfather, both of whom, are you ready, were 4-star admirals. How do you follow that, right? No pressure on the son and the grandson. What did your dad do? Oh, he's a 4-star admiral. What about your grandfather? He's a 4-star admiral. And both his father and his grandfather graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1958. McCain followed his father and his grandfather, and he graduated from the Naval Academy in 1958. Then he became a pilot and flew ground attack aircraft and from aircraft carriers, which is always tricky business. Then, as most of you know, that during the Vietnam War, he was on the, in 1967, he was on the USS Forrestal, and it nearly killed him. It was fire. And then on a bombing mission over Hanoi, as we all know, he was shot down and then he was seriously injured in that crash. He was captured by the North Vietnamese and then was a prisoner of war until 1973. They tortured him unmercifully. His arms were deformed. What they did to him was they were going to set him free, and he refused because they were going to set him free because he came from such a distinguished family in the military, and he refused. He said, I'll leave when my men leave. And he suffered from the disabilities that they inflicted upon him while prisoner of war were visible to all and stayed with him throughout his life, subsequent to his release. I'm sure you've seen the photos of him when he was released. He retired from the Navy in 1981. He was a captain. He moved to Arizona, and then he became a politician. He first started off in the House of Representatives in 82. He served 2 terms, then was elected to the Senate in 86. And he won re-election 5 times, most recently, of course, in a couple of years ago, or a year ago, 2016, was a pretty tough fight for him. He's been a conservative his entire political career, but he's had a reputation of crossing the aisle and talking with others on the other side. He and Senator Kennedy did that a lot. Ironically, Ted Kennedy, died of a glioblastoma as well. He got a reputation of being a maverick. And after being investigated, and he was pretty much exonerated in the political influence scandal of the 80s as a member of the Keating Five. I don't know if you remember that or not. He made campaign finance reform one of his signature concerns. Then that resulted in the passage of the McCain-Feingold Act. My point is that he's had quite a political career. I mean, he's considered one of the lions of the Senate. I don't always agree with him, but I respect him. And he's got a formidable battle on his hands, I can tell you. Glioblastoma, brain cancer, that form of brain cancer. Tough stuff. Now, they claim that they got most of the tumor when they were removing that blood clot. But glioblastoma is an insidious cancer because it will extend its roots down into the brain and undetectable. And it affects the astrocytes. Gary's going to show you what astrocytes look like. These are a form of brain cells that look like stars. They're beautiful on when you show the images of them. And that's where the cancer sets its target, sets it on the astrocytes of the brain cells of the brain. There you go. We're showing, if you're watching the show, we're showing you some images. They're beautiful when you look at them with the images. They really are. So last week, he underwent surgery to remove the blood clot from behind his eye. And as often happens, you do one thing and you end up finding other things. So on Friday, July 14th, Senator McCain underwent a procedure to remove the blood clot from his left eye at Mayo Clinic Hospital in Phoenix. Then, as they always do, they do pathology. They study the tissue and discovered that a primary brain tumor known as a glioblastoma, as I've mentioned, was associated with the blood clot. Technically, it's called glioblastoma multiforme. Recovering from the surgery, and they're going to have to do more. Surgery is not enough, typically. It's going to be, if I had the reports I've read, they're going to do chemo and radiation. I've been there. It's no picnic. I can tell you that. I'm doing chemo right now. Middle of it. on the second round of chemo. This is mine's preventative purposes. I'm going to tell you, I've said it, and I said it several times now on air over these past 9 months. When you enter the world of cancer, buckle up. There is, I mean, it's just, I can't even put, I'm trying to put it into words. It's ineffable. You're listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. Let's Talk Nutrition, coast to coast.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Talking about Senator John McCain. Of course, he's been diagnosed with brain cancer, glioblastoma multiforme, and it's serious business. He's got a formidable fight on his hands. If you'd like to comment, you'd like to participate in the conversation, please don't hesitate to call me. Gary's going to tell you how to get in touch with the show and how we're connected.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. You can also follow us on Facebook and send us a message that way. Or you can follow us on Instagram and see me going through my, physical change, you said. We're doing exercises every week, and we're posting them on there.
You got to lose the weight.
Yeah, we're showing even me that weighs, 280 plus pounds. I've done yoga. I've been doing some walking now. We're going to do some MMA stuff this week.
So what you need to do, you don't live that far from me.
No.
Okay. And I'm sure that your partner at home is not going to like this, but you want to make some progress. You come to my house on Saturday and Sunday and walk with me for 4 miles.
Okay.
I won't walk fast. We'll just walk 4 miles. And she's going to be mad because now you're going to have to spend time doing that. That would be 8 miles in 2 days. If I can do it going through chemo and cancer, partner, you can do this.
Right.
And sometimes when you get into this habit and get some, have somebody with you, I'm willing to do that with you. I typically don't train on the weekends, but for you, I'll do that. If you come to my house on Saturday and Sunday, I'll walk with you 4 miles each day. You got to lose this weight.
I appreciate that.
Remember you were sitting with me when I took you to the chemo room?
Yep.
Gary was with me, and he had never been. And he was watching, and they were infusing me with the medication. And I leaned over and I whispered to him, "You don't want to end up in here. You don't want to end up in here."
See, we even had a discussion about that last time. She had something.
Who's she?
Angela had a cancer scare.
Mm-hmm. Your girlfriend.
Yeah. And the guy I worked for before would not let me go with her to have a biopsy done.
Mm-hmm.
I keep trying to explain that it was not me. It was the guy I worked for.
Right.
And I put a bouncing ball on it. I could have dressed and waved my hands back and forth. And so she was upset with me, and I was like, "What do you want me to do?"
Right. Your boss wouldn't give you the time off to do it. I said to him, "You don't want to end up in here. And when you are overweight or obese and you're running, just carrying too much weight, you run the risk for cancer." And I said to him, "You don't want to die before me," because he's much younger. You get into that, there's more than a few people listening and watching this show nodding their head in affirmation of what I just said. When you enter this world, you don't know what's going to happen. And John McCain is now in this world of cancer. He's got glioblastoma. It's unlike other brain tumors in that it starts usually things will start in the body and spread to the brain. With glioblastoma, it starts in the brain or the spinal cord and then spreads. And as I alluded to a moment ago, the tumor will arise from star-shaped brain cells known as astrocytes. They're beautiful cells, the astrocytes. There is an organization called the American Brain Tumor Association, ABTA, labels glioblastoma, quote, highly malignant and cancerous because of its ability to metastasize and stay within and stay within normal brain tissue. It's reported. Some of the symptoms of glioblastoma are a result of increased pressure on the brain. You'll have episodes of double vision and so on, headaches, nausea, vomiting, drowsiness. And it's from that pressure that the tumor is putting on the brain. And if, depending where the tumor is located, a person will sometimes experience weakness on one particular side of the body. Memory will be affected, speech will be affected, your vision will be affected. Turns out, with respect to treatment for glioblastoma multiforme, there's no particular specific treatment. They use different approaches. Of course, there's always surgery, which is risky business under any circumstances. And then there's radiation and chemotherapy. And the concern with glioblastoma, because it's such a insidious form of cancer, is the recurrence. Even when they get most of the tumor, and just the nature of it, its tentacles go deep into the brain tissue undetected. Well, kind of interesting. It seems like he's prepared all his life for that very moment. I'm very familiar with that. LTN Coast to Coast.
Looking for the perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering. You're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace, for healthy sleep naturally.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing, talking about Senator John McCain and his diagnosis of brain cancer, glioblastoma multiforme. Just to put to give you a sense of reality about this particular form of cancer, I said it was insidious and aggressive. One of the reasons it makes it so insidious is that it will grow or put out microscopic roots that go deep into brain tissue. Hard to detect when the surgeons are trying to remove the tumor. You can't get to that. You don't even know if it's there. But here's a sense of what he has to deal with. The American Cancer Society puts the 5-year survival rate for glioblastoma, patients with that form of brain cancer, it's roughly 4%. 4% make it to 5 years. That's not good.
You know, with politics and how it is, Doc, I guarantee there's going to be money now starting being thrown at brain cancer again.
Good. Whatever it takes. There's about they're predicting about 12,400 new cases for this year, according to the American Brain Tumor Association. It usually affects older adults. Of course, Senator McCain is 80. According to Dr. Sidney Kimmel at the Comprehensive Cancer Center at Johns Hopkins, here's his quote. Quote, "The tumors are considered not curable," close quote. 23,000 adults, more of them men than women, are diagnosed with various types of primary cancers annually. According to the website of the American Society of Clinical Oncology, they're common in older adults, as I said. Unlike most other cancers, brain tumors do not spread to other parts of the body. How they kill the person is they interfere with functioning. Of course, the brain is the CPU of the body. He's got a formidable battle on his hands. Pray for him. Give us a call, please.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Dr. Kate Rheaume, Bleue, is my guest, and appreciate Dr. Kate coming on. It's early. She's up there in British Columbia. We must have about close to half a dozen guests that live in British Columbia and went to the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine. I don't know what they're putting in the water up there, but that school produces good doctors. We like that. Dr. Kate, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you on today. Good morning. Or
good
wherever
morning.
For you, I guess it is. Good. It's a good early morning to you.
Actually, this morning I happen to be in the Eastern home office, so we are in the same time zone.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I know those 6:30 shows are tough, but it's a good morning for sure.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks, and it's great to hear your voice again in person.
Well, thank
Live.
you. Yeah, we as you can tell, we enjoy doing the show. It's a central part of my life and the people involved in the show. I mean, it's pretty consuming, but we love it. We love having. I brag about the guests all the time. Gary and Stephen will tell you. Gary has heard me talk to others off air and when we're out talking to people, and I brag about the guests all the time. I mention you and others. That Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine, that's quite an outfit, isn't it?
It is very much so, and on the leading edge of naturopathic medical education and producing good doctors, for sure. What
distinguishes a naturopathic form of medical training from traditional allopathic training? I know that in naturopathic medicine, when you go to medical school there, you still do, you have anatomy, you have all those other courses that traditional doctors have. But what really distinguishes a naturopath from an allopath?
Good question. There's probably more in common than there is different, more so than people might think. Of course, you need an undergraduate university degree, and then for both conventional as well as naturopathic medicine, you will go to a medical school for typically 4 years for the basic medical degree. And you're right, that covers all of the basic medical sciences like anatomy, physiology, pathology, physical clinical diagnosis. In other words, how to learn to do a physical exam and understand and interpret what the signs and symptoms mean that you're seeing, and order and interpret blood tests and other diagnostic imaging, all that kind of basic stuff. And of course, we study pharmacology quite extensively. Ironically, most naturopathic medical students get more extensive formal training in terms of classroom hours in pharmacology than, surprisingly, than your medical doctor might. So that's extensive as well. In addition to that, we learn about natural therapies to complement and all, the big picture in terms of addressing the root cause of illness. So we will learn about nutrition and dietary changes. Of course, that's critical, that's fundamental, as well as herbs and botanical medicines, nutritional supplements to complement a healthy diet, and a variety of other natural means to help the body's own natural healing ability to treat the root cause of illness whenever possible, instead of, for example, just addressing symptoms.
Well, I'm glad that was you've given me the best answer to that question. You painted a wonderful picture. And I asked that question with the intent of saying this. One of the things that drives me crazy, and I don't like it, is that there are a lot of, and I get in trouble for doing this, but I don't care. There are a lot of people walking around with the initials ND behind their name or next to their name, and have no business doing that. They got some certificate or degree, and they didn't go to the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine or Bastille or the one in the Southwest or the one in Bridgeport, which is an accredited university by the Board of Governors, University of Bridgeport. You can get a naturopathic degree there, where it's like going to medical school. In our industry, in our world, I don't know. I'm a PhD. I don't profess to be a medical doctor. I never wanted to be a clinician. I don't do that stuff. But I don't like it that some people are passing themselves off as naturopathic physicians. I wouldn't let them touch my cat.
Don't be stressed out or
Looking for the perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering, you're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace. an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace for healthy sleep naturally.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. I was just reflecting about my on-air persona today. I'm a little dark. I'm sorry. Dr. Kate, welcome back. I had to get that out of my system.
We all get a little dark sometimes.
Yeah, John McCain and whatnot. I'm back in the middle of chemo myself, is for preventative purposes. And if once in a while I'm 98% of the time I'm as optimistic as they come, and no matter how grave and dire things get, I'm optimistic. But for some reason today, I just caught myself. But I stick by my point that I made headed into those messages. I respect your training. I respect you and what you did, and that's quite an achievement. You're the real deal, and so I just want you to know that we know that around here, and I'm paying attention. Don't think I don't. We do our research on guests, and I don't say much, but in your case, and in other cases, NDs that come on to the show, the Michael Murrays, and there's a long list of them, they're real. And so,
how many hours was that altogether that you do? They have it broken down by hours that it took to get to you become a doctor?
I don't know how
many. They probably do.
Yeah, what is that? Do you know?
Well, they probably do, but I don't know whether thousands of hours. It is 4 years, more than full time, and then plus, of course, I did a 2-year residency after that. So I'm not sure how many thousands of hours that works out to. As well, there are standardized board exams that will be standardized all across North America, as well as individualized per jurisdiction, so per state or province, and ongoing continuing education. It's a good question. I really should look up how many hours I spent in my training.
Well, one of the questions was because we ran across somebody. I don't know if you know this, but Dr. Garko's been on the air for 12 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's syndicated almost nearly in 60 markets.
Mm-hmm.
And we were looking up some of the other so-called health. I'm going to call him what is it? So-called health physician. That's what he is. Yeah, some
of these folks that host these shows and are making all kinds of claims, and we started to check it out because I'm writing a press release on the 12-year anniversary of the show, and I wanted to see how we compared to other shows. And we started modestly, and we're still modest. But the charlatans in this business, Dr. Bleue, are there are far too many. And it upsets me because it undermines the credibility of what you do and others such as yourself who've worked hard to receive this credential that you have. It was, I'm sure, and you told the story. I asked you one day how you got into all this, and you self-disclosed. It's very personal. But let me ask you one more question. I know, ironically, you want to talk about the brain today, and here I am talking about John McCain, and it's just a coincidence that you want to talk about cognitive health, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's just ironic that wasn't planned that way. May I ask you this question? In all of the training that you received to become a naturopathic physician from the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine, what is the one thing that you noticed and understand that was a change in yourself? What changed? Is there one thing that really changed in you that you recognized?
I think it was something pretty fundamental, like recognizing the amazing healing power of the body. It is truly amazing, and that given time, and actually it often doesn't take that much time, but given the right nutrients and the right support, which can come from a number of levels, that the body really can heal from so many things, even things we thought we maybe could not have healed from. And that is, that sticks with me, and it's something that inspires me every day.
Did you realize that you were changing as you were going through the process, or did you come to these? When I finished my PhD work, I told this story a couple of times. I was sitting in this auditorium to be awarded my credential, and there were thousands of people, undergraduates, graduates, and I was getting my PhD awarded to me. And I was sitting there with my cap and gown. I was sitting there, and I realized that I had changed, that the process was rigorous, and that I was different from the process. I actually understood it. It came to me at that moment. You understand what I'm trying to say to you?
I know exactly what you're trying to say, and you're right. You don't realize that as you go along because you're in it, and you have to sort of step back, and when you have those moments, you're able to step back and see the change and where you've come from and realize that. But I do know what you mean.
Yeah, it's an interesting process. Well, we appreciate you being a guest on the show and what you bring to it. And you are an educator for Natural Factors. Want to share that with the people. Pretty darn good Canadian company. and that sells products throughout the world, including the United States. Cognitive health, brain health. The brain, although sitting in a very hard casing, is pretty vulnerable, isn't it?
It's pretty vulnerable, very much so, and it's also quite dynamic. In other words, yes, it can be damaged by things, but like other parts of the body, it can be healed, and it can heal itself. We can even grow new brain cells, incredibly. We do that, and even with relatively simple things like physical activity can help us do that. And so it is dynamic, the brain, and we can make improvements with it.
It was once believed. It was once believed, if my memory serves me, that, and it was considered an absolute, and that was axiomatic. They believed that brain couldn't grow new cells. That's changed, hasn't it?
Very much so.
Well, the first time I came involved in this was I met Shelley Fabares.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And, started really thinking about it. And then I actually worked in the foundation when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
Shelley Fabares' foundation.
Uh-huh. That's good, Gary. So, you haven't all been all that divorced from the world of health and wellness and whatnot.
No.
That's good. Some often say that the seat of the soul is somewhere connected in the brain. The seat of the soul it is what humanizes us. It's what distinguishes us from other species of animals. It's what makes us very special. Yeah, the brain. And when you look at it from an evolutionary perspective and you start to get into that world, it's pretty remarkable that the brain, what we have, is makes us. It not only distinguishes us, but it can get us into a lot of trouble. But we are the only self-reflective creatures on the planet as far as science knows at this moment. Interesting, isn't it? You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition, coast to coast. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in. We're coast to coast, as you well know. Dr. Kate Rheaume Bleue is my guest, talking about the brain today. Ironically, and by coincidence, I had the report in the first portion of the show. I reported on, I would have been remiss if I didn't, John McCain and his diagnosis of brain cancer and glioblastoma multiforme. He's got a tough battle in front of him. The 5-year survival rate is very, very small. According to the American Cancer Society, my memory serves me, it's about 4%. So he's got a tough challenge, and just pray for him. Dr. Bleue is going to be talking about the brain and how to nourish it, how it's affected, and whatnot. This is a very important topic. Of course, as you know, dementia is some people, when you talk to them, they say, I would rather not be here than go through that. I don't want to live that way. I don't want to have people to see me that way. I don't want to. They would prefer to not be here. And I get that. The brain is, again, that organ system, the central nervous system, the brain, spinal cord and whatnot, really distinguishes us from other species. Now, the Smithsonian and other institutions have wonderful programs and scholarly articles, some that are more for public consumption, and programs focusing on the brain. Believe it or not, the Smithsonian, of course, you would expect it to. I came across, it's the National Museum of Natural History, came across an article, What Does It Mean to Be Human? And giving them, of course, attribution. I wanted to share a few things with you, just sort of set the stage for Dr. Bleu's conversation about the brain and what she wants to talk about. And in the article, bigger is, you get the sense that bigger is better here. Bigger brains served us better. And it didn't happen overnight, believe you me. Early humans were, and they point out in the Smithsonian, I'm again giving them attribution, so I don't have to keep saying that, encountered a variety of environmental challenges, and as a result of that, we selected to develop bigger brains and evolved bigger bodies, and along with that came bigger and complex brains. Obviously, the bigger the brain, the more information it can process. And over the course of human evolution, they point out in the piece that the brain has tripled in size. And the modern human brain is the largest and most complex of any living primate, close quote. It increased slowly. Again, in terms of evolution, time, you say time is relative. Boy, evolution takes its time. There's a lesson there, I think. From 6 to 2 million years ago, during that period, early humans began to walk upright and made these very modest tools. Brain size increased, but only slightly, not much. Then from 2 million to 800,000 years ago, brain and body size increased. And it was during that period where the humans began to migrate across the globe. And they then had to face different environments. And it's adaptation. And the body selected in different ways, evolution, the process of selection, our anatomy started to change to accommodate the environments, and led to an increase in brain size. And then according to Smithsonian, from about 800 to 200,000 years ago, the brain size evolved rapidly. And this was, guess what? During the period of climate change. Here we are debating it. You can't make it up. Larger and more complex brains allowed our ancient ancestors during this period of time to do what? By necessity, to interact with one another to make it. I find that interesting. In other words, you couldn't go it alone. And the surroundings were dramatically changed and severe. And then why the sudden increase in brain size? Well, they say that this change in environment and the survival, we had to be able to process information and make sense of it. In order to, and in doing that, we needed to interact with one another, and it was all about survival. I find it's a miracle. Now, some people think you talk about evolution, you're godless. That's not true. That's just not true. Why can't this be considered part of God's plan if that's how you're so inclined to believe? And so we don't have, unfortunately, the brain is organic, and we have skulls, but we don't have the actual brain of our ancient ancestors. We don't have any specimens of that. But it's just a miraculous thing how that all worked out, in my opinion anyway. And here we are today. And we just take it for granted. We walk around, we're self-reflexive and self-reflective. We can, think in the abstract, create, contemplate great questions and ponder them and try to come up with theories and answers. I don't know. To me, it just, the more you learn, the more you study, and more you get into that world and consider it. There are people who get up every single day of their life and they don't even think about this one whit. How does that happen? Dr. Kate Rheaume Bleue is my guest. Dr. Bleue, welcome back. Great to have you on. I'm glad you picked this topic. It's intriguing. It's one of my favorite topics. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. And it is also one of my favorite topics. As you know, we've spoken about it a little bit before. And timely. Brain health, not just with the news about John McCain this morning, but as well, on the news segment, I heard at the top of the hour, as well as up here, what's making the news is information about how we can protect our brains. Coming out of the very prestigious Lancet journal, and showing that there's lots we can do. I think less and less people are taking their brains for granted, and we're now more cognizant of the fact that we need to take care of them so they can stay healthy for longer.
Yeah, I guess with now the greater prevalence of dementia, and Alzheimer's in particular form of it, we're sort of dialed into this now more so than ever, I think. So this is good. Take it where you will now. I know you have your notes, and I'll please go where you want to go thematically.
Well, really, it's more about what's in the news today, as you reported, and as what's making the news here is that at the Alzheimer's International Conference in London, researchers showed how health and lifestyle factors contribute to the risk of dementia, and how there is so much that we can do and so much that is under our control. Some are obvious things, such as not smoking, that kind of thing. There's other less obvious things, maybe like social isolation. But you addressed that just now when you were talking about the evolutions of our brains and how we had to get together and work together to survive, and our brains are programmed for that. So staying socially active keeps the brain healthy. And what I think was overlooked in today's reporting is the importance of feeding the brain. And that, of course, is something that's super fascinating to me, is the nutrients that the brain needs, ones that can be lacking from our diet, and the massive impact that can have by providing those to the brain in optimal amounts. And the importance of that throughout life, and as well, caring for our brain starts as early as middle age.
And we'll get to it.
If you've ever had digestive issues, Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilo Max, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Wherever and however you may be listening to the show and whatever you may be doing coast to coast, got the real deal on today. Dr. Kate Rheaume Bleue. Real deal because she's a real naturopathic physician, went to medical school for that, Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine, and we appreciate that. Talking about the brain today, So, Dr. Bleue, when we were headed into those set of messages, you were alluding to or pointing to how we can feed the brain properly or improperly. And please develop that theme a little bit.
Our brain cells require certain nutrients in order to be optimally healthy. And if those nutrients are lacking, if they're not being provided by our diet in sufficient amounts, then quite simply our brain cells will suffer. And in some cases, this causes them to even die off. Our brains are, for example, the brain itself is 60% fat by weight. And so fat is where it's at. Fat is critically important, and the fats that we eat in our diet ultimately go to affect our brain in a major way. So, one of the top nutrients for cognitive function would be omega-3 essential fatty acids, and making sure we have those omega-3s. And there's just a ton of research to show that omega-3s will help reduce the risk of dementia. People with higher levels of the omega-3s in the brain have lower risks of dementia. Less plaques and tangles, these abnormal brain protein deposits, fewer areas of subclinical brain damage, and a bigger, fatter brain. We really want big, fat brains, and we know that the brain will shrink with age, and particularly with Alzheimer's disease. And so maintaining, first of all, hydration, as well as good levels of omega-3s, for example, from a quality fish oil supplement, makes a really important difference in our brain health and the quality of our brain tissue.
Is there any particular nutrient that is especially deleterious or otherwise dangerous to the brain?
Well, toxins. The brain is absolutely sensitive to toxins in our environment, and those can be coming, of course, externally. There's lots of things that can cross the blood-brain barrier, and not being able to process those properly can really affect the brain, causing, say, free radical damage or other ways of damaging those brain cells. So in terms of things that are harmful to the brain, with regards to nutrients, were we thinking more of nutrients sort of that we may be lacking, or nutrients that we could have in too high amounts that could be harmful?
Yeah, well, of course, we got the blood-brain barrier. Let me back up a little bit. The one nutrient that brain uses is glucose, yes?
Yes, in terms of, food source, right.
And so how do they explain and describe then, when you mentioned these fatty acids, how do they nourish the brain? Do those molecules get across the blood-brain barrier?
Oh, very much so. They do. They get across the blood-brain barrier, and they affect our brain in a number of ways. So when we look at omega-3s, we're typically looking at EPA and DHA. Those are the two, major long-chain omega-3s that we find, for example, in fish oil.
Mm-hmm.
EPA is critical for mood. DHA is critical for, I guess you could say, the nuts and the bolts of the mechanics of the brain. These healthy fats will insert themselves into the cell membranes, for example, as well as go right into our cells and do a number of things in terms of the functioning of the brain cell itself.
Mm-hmm. So in a technical sense, let's say you eat guess what, that highly processed standard American diet, cookies, crackers, cakes, chips, colas, cupcakes, and so on, croissants, and you study diet of that. Those nutrients in those products they don't get across the blood-brain barrier. The damage to the brain is sort of done indirectly, isn't it?
That's right. Exactly. So there's two factors there. One is a lack of vitamins and minerals that will be feeding the brain, and the other one is the glucose, as you mentioned. The brain does feed on glucose, but for that reason, it actually really doesn't have very good mechanisms to protect itself from too much glucose. So the brain is exquisitely sensitive to too much sugar in the diet, which is why diabetes is a major risk factor for dementia. But even among non-diabetics, people who have higher blood sugar levels in general tend to have more dementia.
Okay, explain that connection. Is it diabetes and dementia? What's the mechanism here? Is it too much sugar, not enough sugar? What's going on there?
It's definitely too much sugar. As a matter of fact, Alzheimer's is sometimes, as I'm sure you've heard, referred to as type 3 diabetes,
yes,
or diabetes of the brain.
Yes.
And so, it's too much sugar, but then the sugar not getting into where it's supposed to be getting, or being used properly as a food or a fuel source. And in similar way that we see that happens with diabetes in the rest of the body. And then the brain cells, ironically, can be starving when there's too much sugar around.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a big clue what Dr. Bleue just said. For those of you who are carbohydrate phobic, please disabuse yourself of that. Think carbohydrate. Carbohydrate gets converted into, Groucho Marx, the secret word for today, glucose. As we evolved, we were consuming plants. The carbohydrate. You think it's not an accident. Carbohydrate, glucose, good for brain, gets across the blood-brain barrier, and people are starving themselves of carbohydrate. Oh, my goodness.
Looking for the perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering, you're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace for healthy sleep naturally.
Did you know that 7 in 10 people have digestive issues? It's no wonder, really. When you take a closer look at what's inside, you'll see that our intestinal environment is similar to a lush garden, a flourishing biodiversity comprised of healthy gut flora. Flora that we depend upon for our health and well-being. Stress, over-sanitization, over-processed foods, and the overuse of antibiotics have clear-cut our guts, leaving our tummies feeling, well, not great. You see, what we have done by killing off the gut flora is damage the soil of our inner gardens. With damaged soil, nothing can really grow or flourish, and disease starts to set in. But we will let you in on a little secret. Fermentation makes all the difference. You know that bloated feeling you can get when taking a vegan protein? Oh, come on. We know you know. Almost all of us get it. That feeling comes from a natural protective casing that surrounds grains and legumes. Because this casing acts as a natural defense mechanism to prevent the grain or legume from being digested, the result is gas and bloating as it passes through our digestive tract. This is where the magic of fermentation comes in. Only fermentation breaks down this casing, freeing the nutrients for absorption by your body. Not only that, but it amplifies the existing nutrients. This means you are getting all the available nutrients from your protein. But there's more. Remember our garden that we clear cut? Well, fermentation, when done right, actually restores that biodiversity of flora. Fermentation naturally replenishes the soil in our garden. Can your protein powder do all that? Well, ours can. Fermented Vegan Proteins Plus by Genuine Health. 7 plant-based sources for a complete amino acid profile. No bloating, maximizes protein and nutrient absorption, and strengthens your gut health. Gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, non-GMO, and 100% vegan. Try some today. Your gut will thank you. Genuine Health is possible.
As you can infer from my guest comments today, Dr. Kate Bleue, there are several dietary components or nutrients that have a profound effect on your brain and cognitive ability and functioning. And so diet, again, always shows up. Dietary factors can affect a number of different brain processes. The science on this is becoming clearer and clearer and more robust. Dr. Bleue mentioned the omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, and those turn out to be constituents of the cell membranes and are indeed fundamental for proper brain cognitive functioning. Now, you can become deficient in these polyunsaturated fatty acids in any number of ways, and if your diet is deficient. And by the way, eating a lot of fish 3 and 4 or 5 times a week, I wouldn't recommend it, unless you're getting that fish from a place where the water is pretty pristine. We've turned the oceans into literally sewage pools. It's unfortunate. So what are you left with? You can't stop eating the fish, but I wouldn't eat it 4 times. No way. So dietary supplementation, natural factors can help out with that. Dr. Bleue, welcome back. So that would be one way to get these nutrients, these omega-3s into the body, yes?
Through eating fish, you mean? I agree with you. I would not eat fish that many times a week. Once, maybe twice,
Yeah, the supplements.
Right, exactly. So this is where a good quality fish oil supplement comes in, because you can get those all-important omega-3 essential fatty acids, the long-chain ones that our brain uses, in a way that is free of contaminants. It's free of, the mercury PCBs, all the things that we can find in fish. And it is concentrated. And this is the type of, pharmaceutical grade, as we refer to sometimes, fish oils, omega-3s that are being used in clinical trials and in the research around brain health. And it is, if you're going to do one thing, or if you're going to take one thing for your brain, this, let this be it, because studies have shown that even with early stages of Alzheimer's, it can make meaningful improvements, omega-3s, in mood, memory, cooperation, ability to navigate around the home. It makes a difference in how our brain works.
Mm-hmm. Another nutrient, vitamin, folate or folic acid. Of course, that's found in a variety of foods, spinach, and so on. Turns out that adequate levels of folate are essential for cognitive brain functioning. And if you don't have adequate levels, you have cognitive impairment, and you can experience such things as depression and so on, neurological disorders. That can also be done through supplementation or through food, but I just wanted to mention that, throw that in as a sidebar. Of course, Natural Factors has B vitamins, B complex, I am sure, yes?
Definitely, and it's a really good point. All the B vitamins and folic acid in there, they work together in the brain, and as well as having individual benefits. B12 is a big one, and that is one that even with a good B complex, I often recommend individuals take separate B12 that's sublingual, because it's absorbed better directly to the bloodstream under the tongue. Mm-hmm. And B12 is a nutrient that plays a critical role in our neurological system. One of the early stages or early symptoms of even mild B12 deficiency is simply forgetfulness. So a lot of what people may think is, just normal forgetfulness with age, may in fact be B12 deficiency, because it's pretty common, and it becomes more common as we absorb less B12 with age.
And Natural Factors has a freestanding, does it sell B12 freestanding?
Absolutely. A sublingual methylcobalamin, this is the methylated form of B12 that you want, that is used in the body. Mm-hmm. And again, it dissolves under the tongue, it goes right into the bloodstream through there, so you don't have to worry about not absorbing it in the stomach, which is common. Mm-hmm. And it can make a big difference in the way the brain functions.
The statistic escapes me at the moment, but the amount of energy that we consume, the total amount of energy or calories that we take in, and food equals calories, calories equal energy. I know you know that, but I'm just laying that out for the audience. The brain is very selfish and gluttonous about that. It needs a lot of energy, a lot of glucose, because it's busy. The brain says, I'm working here.
Very much so. The brain is a very energy-hungry organ. At least 20% of the calories we eat and the air that we breathe, the oxygen we take in, is just to feed our brain. It uses as much energy as our body does just walking around throughout the day.
Now that Dr. Bleue said that, you can then infer that there's what? A high metabolic load on the brain. And you got an abundance of oxygen and whatnot, all consequence of trying to metabolize this energy and use it. You got an abundance of oxidized material that can affect the brain. Enter stage left, antioxidants. Can you comment on the role of antioxidants for brain health?
Excellent point. That is absolutely right. There's two things there: the energy production as well as the byproducts of that energy production, which can be producing these free radicals. So antioxidants of all kinds are critically important. Some have a greater affinity for brain than others. Curcumin is one that I love. I absolutely love theracumin when it comes to brain health because of its antioxidant as well as its anti-inflammatory actions. And protecting the brain from free radical damage is extremely important to keep our brain cells working properly.
I'll be the first one to tell you that my diet is imperfect. Not so much anymore because of eating the wrong foods, but because of not getting enough nutrients. I'm on a whole food, plant-based diet, no meat, no dairy, and virtually no oil. Given my health condition over these past 9 months, I've made that switch, and I notice a change. Believe me, I tell you the truth. There's a change in my body. I can feel it. I can see it. I see it especially in my hands, where the swelling has gone down from all the damage I did to my joints from being a musician all those years, and the healing process has been amazing. And so, and when you're doing chemo and radiate, you don't eat much, and you lose weight. I've lost 35 pounds, so I'm always trying to catch up. And but I can tell you that dietary supplementation can serve you well in trying to fill in the holes and the gaps and whatnot, no matter how perfect you may think your diet may be. LTN question coming up for the day. Right back.
Want to get at the core issues that make...
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Here's the LTN health question of the day. We do this every day around this time. Dr. Bleue gave the answer a moment ago. I said, I'm not sure how much, and then she told us how much. What I'm referring to is, and the question is, how much of the body's total energy intake, total energy at hand, is used for the brain? What percentage? What percentage? I'll give you two choices. Make it easier. 5% or 20%? What percent of the body's energy at hand is used for the brain? 5% or 20%? Call this number. Right answer, $25 supplement gift card.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Dr. Bleue, welcome back. I found a wonderful article in Scientific American. It was a while back, but that's a nice periodical. And they were pointing out in the piece that of that total amount of energy that the brain's using, one portion of it is used to, about 2/3, is used to help neurons in the nerve cells fire or send signals. The other third is used for housekeeping. The brain is busy, and it looks for routines. That's how we get routinized. It wants evolution. We want to be routine. The brain wants us to be routinized, into these routines, so it doesn't have to keep telling you, this is what it needs to do. It tries to habituate you, so it doesn't have to repeat. It wants to establish the pattern and then move on because it got other things to do. It's fascinating stuff. By the way, I got to tell you, I don't know what you had for breakfast, but you're on your game today.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, my producer and I were talking about that during the commercial break. I said, she's on her game today, man. He said, I know. So you're getting. I'm throwing sliders and curves, but you're hitting everything I throw at you today. You're doing well. You're really good today, man. You're always good, but you're
like you. I live and breathe health, and I love this.
Yeah, I know you do.
I love this topic.
I can see that.
You're talking about this article in the Scientific American, and I know. Excuse me, that you're talking about those glial cells that we think are for housekeeping, and they are all important.
Yeah.
Part of our brain health.
Are there any other nutrients that we could get through supplementation from natural factors that you had on your mind that you'd like to share with the listener and the viewer of LTN Coast to Coast?
The only one that we haven't spoken about yet, which goes back to what you were saying earlier about energy production in the brain and how energy hungry the brain is a key nutrient to help with the health of our mitochondria, which is called PQQ.
Ah, yeah.
And this is, I love this. It is fantastic, and it's amazing. It's been shown to help stimulate the production of new, fresh mitochondria. So these are essentially the batteries for our brain cells. And the batteries, like any other batteries, energy-producing centers will wear down and die off, and PQQ helps to stimulate them and make more of them. And it's a really great physical and mental boost, and it really helps with that brain energy production.
And in terms of lifestyle, I would suggest to the listener and viewer, the brain also likes and gets reward from meditating, taking a wonderful walk through nature, going on vacation and looking at the ocean, just sitting there at the beach, whatever. The brain enjoys that too. It likes that kind of rest. And less stress. It'll accommodate the stress, but it eventually takes a toll. So from a lifestyle perspective, getting proper sleep and rest, it needs that as well. Exercise, it needs that. So, and good relationships and social connection. Those are lifestyle variables that are critical as well. They don't come in a bottle, but they are critical. Right, Dr. Bleue?
Very much so, and really good point, spending time in nature.
Yeah. Let's go to Michael in Tampa. Michael, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on, Michael.
I'm glad to be on. I enjoy the show very much.
Thanks a lot. So how much the brain is energy hungry? It's sort of gluttonous about it. It says, feed me, feed me. What percent of the energy at hand will the brain use? 5% or 20%?
I would say at least 20%.
For sure, yeah. I often wonder, do geniuses use more energy than others? I wonder, Dr. Bleue. Congratulations, Michael. You won a $25 supplement gift card.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Michael. What do you think about that? Smarter people, more energy? What do you think?
There may be a factor there. It seems there may have brain cell connections more so than others don't. And the good news about that is we can all help increase our brain cell connections.
The more blood you have going to the brain, the thing that you don't want to suffer from is cerebral vascular deficiency. I often use that when people are saying stupid things. I say, you got a medical condition. They say, what's that? It's cerebral vascular deficiency. What's that? You don't have enough blood to your brain because you're saying dumb stuff, man. More fresh blood to the brain is what we need, yes?
Very important, absolutely.
And those carotid arteries, if they start to plaque, it's a problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, very much so.
So there you go. Keep the arteries clean. What are you going to do the rest of the day? Hang out?
Hang out, do some more research, and go out in nature.
Yeah. So what city are you in today?
Today I'm near Toronto.
Okay. You're on the move, huh?
Absolutely.
You're not in the witness protection program, are you? No.
If I was, I'd be doing a bad job of it.
Sometimes, being conspicuously placed is the best disguise. We always enjoy having you on. You were especially good at bat today, man. You were on your game today, boy. Man.
Well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure, and especially today.
Yeah, we enjoyed having you on the show. We appreciate your contribution. We appreciate Natural Factors. And you heard Dr. Bleue mention those various products from Natural Factors for the brain, the B complex, the B12, their fish oil products. They have great antioxidant, the PQQ. All of those are wonderful from Natural Factors, sold in fine health stores throughout the United States and North America, and those stores that are trying to be fine. And we want to get dialed into our brain. Why? Because our health is our wealth, and our health is the wealth of those that care about and love us. I'll see you.